Apparently, we got some breaking news. This happened just now. Gunshots have been fired in the vicinity of Donald Trump. According to his campaign, they claim he is safe, and there's no further details at the time. It happened at one of his golf clubs. Now, again, for some reason, you get to find this from social media, not from the authoritarian news sources. But my favorite take is that there are liberals who say, look. We got it on good authority, and they may be right, but they have it on good authority that this wasn't like someone shooting at Trump. It's just like there was a gun battle that happened down the street. So it's all good. And I'm like, how the fuck can it all be good? Like, this is not normal. You don't have to live like this. Like, this is not okay. What do you mean, like, a gun battle had, like, no. Now, usually they will say, well, actually, if there were no guns, then... Well, like, hold on a little bit. Like, first of all, I'm willing to bet that every single time there's a gun battle, some law is broken. So already you have, a criminal. And I'm also willing to bet, I may be wrong, but I'm willing to bet that some of them may not even have had the right to own a firearm. Because usually when you have, like, gangbangers and stuff, like, do they register? Do they? Goodness gracious. Welcome to America, yeah. But I always notice Europeans, they say, welcome to America, this is America. But for some fucking reason, it's not in all of America, is it? Like, there is the song, Try That in a Small Town, but like, do you have this in New Hampshire? Do you have this in Martha's Vineyard? Like, there are certain places where, despite the fact that they're in America, despite the fact that there is, legislation that allows for guns, you do not have, like, firearms going off in the night. You do not feel as if you're in a war zone. We have gunfights here, you silly European. Yeah, you know what? Actually, there happened... it is unfortunate that even in Europe, the number of gun violence is increasing. Like for instance, in Romania... When I was at med school, so it's not that long ago. But like when I was at med school, I have never seen or even heard of a gunshot wound. It just doesn't happen. And now I see it in the news. It's like, wow, that's unfortunate. Now, the way that my country deals with it is that, from my understanding, from what I heard, is that getting a gun is not that difficult, but getting ammunition is. So, like, Romania is heavily controlling the production of, if you're manufacturing, you're like... But yeah, like, there's heavy control on ammunition. So, like, getting a gun is not that difficult, especially what's happening now with Ukraine and stuff. Like, you can get it, but, like, finding ammo for it is more difficult. Hello, Tomcat. Welcome to the show. Yeah, we're not going to have This Week in Stupid today because Mr. Ors couldn't make it, so... It's okay. Even though, like, there were some interesting articles that I wanted to talk about, I guess we'll be talking about them next week. Apparently, Donald Trump wants to stop taxing people for overtime. That's kind of based. Like, usually, you don't get to see politicians trying to win elections by removing taxes. Usually, they add taxes. So, yeah, like, removing taxation from overtime. That's something that no one thought about. I'm pretty sure that we may actually see Kamala Harris suggesting something like it in the following weeks. Because, for some fucking reason, she keeps copying Trump's homework. It's just a little bit, I mean, Joe Biden already wears the MAGA hat. So, we're not that far off. Hello, V. Hope all is well. What's on the menu? Well, apparently there was a gunfight next to Donald Trump. Did you hear about it? We still don't know what happened. But at his golf course, bullet sounds were heard. Gunshots, not bullet sounds. Gunshots were heard. So we got that. Can we 3D print ammo yet? No. Sounds like a good idea. If you have people that have difficulties and have to work extra, they shouldn't be punished for that. Yeah, I mean, most people that work overtime, they're not insanely wealthy, right? Sorry, I was just looking at what Spoon DM'd me, asking me if I'll make a video. Maybe. Do you think that Mr. Trump is having relations with Laura Loomer? I think he is. I don't even understand why would that matter. Look, again, this is like the massive cultural difference between Romania and the United States. Like, you guys, I would call you a crusader state. Like, you care about morality so much, it's astonishing. And it's not about a right-wing thing, it's left-wing people. They care about their woke morality just as much. But it's not like you care about your morality and it's like, okay, I want to live under this morality, I want my family to live under this morality, and I want my close friends to live. No. Everybody has to live by the morality. And it goes to the point where you're willing to fire competent people just because they don't have the morality. So, like, you can have the best plumber in the world, but if he doesn't have the morality, he should be ostracized. And this is, like, such an American thing. And one of them has to be with infidelity regarding politicians. I don't fucking get it. I genuinely don't. It started with Bill Clinton. It's like, oh my goto. Oh, Monica Lewinsky sucked him off. She went suki. Oh, Dios mío. And I'm like, okay, what does this affect the economy? What does this affect this international policy? Do you guys elect the president so that he teaches people morality, or do you elect the president in order to discuss issues like economy, warfare, legislation? But anyway, right. The reason, I will tell you this, okay, before anyone judges me. You need to understand, here in Europe, in France, every single president besides Emmanuel Macron has had a mistress. The press knew about it, the people knew about it, no one gives a fuck. In Romania, President Traian Băsescu has fucked his mistress on the presidential office. Everyone knows, right? So you need to understand my culture for a bit. Like, you need to put yourself into my shoes for a little bit. Like, I live in this place, and now you're telling me that everything in my life is wrong. Like, none of this is correct. Everything is bad. Traian Băsescu is one president that actually cut 25% of the people working in the budget, in the public sector. Like, he fired a lot of people, and he cut their wages by around 50%. Like he was one of the most right-wing presidents that Romania had, but again, he fucked his mistress on the presidential office, allegedly. So, like, you're telling me, no, V. No, like, he is wrong. You should have just put a communist in his stead that actually respected his wife. And I'm like, I mean, I guess, you know, like. So, like, regarding Laura Loomer, I don't know and I don't care. Like, the reason that I support the Republican candidate is not because he is, like, a moral, God-fearing Christian. Right? Like, this is not the reason. The reason that I support Donald Trump is because I believe he can fix the American economy. And if the American economy gets fixed, you guys can give me more super chats. And on top of that, adding, world peace, I believe, is much more secure under Donald Trump than it is under Kamala Harris. Like, there was no conflict next to my border when Trump was in office. There was no problem with the Russians, no. Right? So, is this affecting whether or not Trump is having sex with women? I don't care. I generally don't. And not to mention, like, Trump, if you look at him, he was never, like, a moral pillar of the community. The man had several wives, right? Like, he already had divorces, so he said. He worked with porn stars. Like, what are we talking about? It's like, oh my God, he is committing infidelity. All right. Well, maybe he is. We have put sex in the American Senate, so I guess that's the standard. That's the bar. Is he lower than that bar? No. Okay, good. Tell me when he reads Drag Kid Story Hours for children, and then I will start giving a fuck. V, Trump trying to run on Ron Paul's libertarian platform. He ran on that in 2012 and 2008. We could have had a decrease in taxes and bureaucrat bloat, but my first minority president. Well, actually, he wants to have Elon Musk in order to look at the bloat in the public sector and start firing people, so, yeah. V actually has tangible reasons to support Trump, unlike Dev. No, but, like, seriously, like, if I don't have a reason to support the president, I don't support him. It's like, okay, well, it's in America. And a lot of people ask me, like, why do you care about what's happening in America? And the reason is because it's affecting my country. Like, when you had Trump president, there wasn't a war in Ukraine, number one. And I can also elaborate on why I think that wasn't the case. But also, number two, the economy was better. And when Americans are doing well, I'm doing well. When Americans start printing money like crazy, I'm doing poorly. So yeah, I want a strong America, and I have a reason for it, because it's also my mutual interest. Do you know how Romania calls America? We don't call them, like America calls Israel our greatest ally. Romania has also a saying for America. Our strategic partner from over the ocean. There we go. The strategic partner from over the ocean. Well, I want my strategic partner from over the ocean to fucking do well. Ukraine had the ship attacked by Russians in Romanian territorial waters a couple of days ago. Well, I mean, I don't follow the conflict. Because of the fog of war. Like, you know, I followed it in the beginning, and you think, like, you know what's going on, and then it turns out, well, actually, no. This wasn't the case. Misinformation. Oops. The Shark of Kiev isn't a real person. It's oh, come on. So, yeah, I don't really follow what's happening. But, yeah, like, we had a couple of Russian drones. I believe there was also a misfire that landed at the border. Like, this is why I don't like the fact that there's a war over the border. I would like it if it stopped. So... especially, it would be bad if it expands. I would say it's not good. Anyway, like I was saying, the cats are the fruits in the land. No, again, everything that America does, all the policies are for the cat lady. That, you know, like, should be on the flag. America should put the cat lady on the flag. It's like, do it for her. We would like all the wars to stop. Look, I'm not asking for the impossible. Like there are certain situations where people have been fighting before I was born. People are fighting now, and when I'm going to be in the ground, eaten by worms, people are still going to fight. So I understand that it's human nature to fight, and like people are very territorial. I get that shit. But there wasn't a conflict in Ukraine when I was born, and I think like that conflict should actually end. Well, maybe I'm a little bit selfish, you know? Like, I care the most about the stuff that surrounds and affects me. And this is like a particular situation that doesn't really affect me yet, but it has the potential to. So, is the cat nutritious? I generally like don't know. Like we haven't studied this at med school, if you're asking the question seriously. But what I do know is that for some reason humans do not eat predatory animals, with the exception of fish. So when it comes to fish, we actually do eat predatory fish. But when it comes to everything else, yeah, we don't. We don't eat eagles. We don't eat hawks. We do eat chickens, though. Like, chickens eat meat. But, like, I guess maybe they're omnivores. So, It isn't a war. It's two gangs fighting over territory. I see. Shit. You know, here's another thing. And this is what we actually learned at law school. Gangs cannot exist without the consent of the authorities. And when you think about it, it's absolutely true. Like, you cannot have organized crime unless the cops look the other way. And you can't have cops looking the other way unless their police chief looks the other way. And it's usually that the mayor looks the other way. And they look the other way because they're getting paid. So you cannot have criminal elements like that unless there is corruption. I wish we had cat girls instead of cat ladies. The name of the stream must be a joke. Liberals with moral. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah. I mean, no, seriously, but like, think about it. We live in the age of pure digitalization. Like, now they even have AI. So not only can they have the access to listen in to everything you do online, like, they also have the access to check all of your financial transactions. And, you know, before you could make the argument, well, yeah, but there's like so many people in a country. There's like tens of millions in a city that the authorities just do not have the number to go through every single bit of text. Like, they can do word searches and they can, like, get some paragraphs, but, like, it would be physically impossible for the government to actually listen in on all the people. However, now they have AI. So the AI can just summarize, like, can go through a person's private messages and just summarize everything there is to know about you. Like, if you can do this experiment if you don't believe me, right? Like, just go onto Twitter or Facebook or Discord or whatever it is you're using. Yeah, go to your Discord server, right? Go to your favorite Discord server, copy paste everything that was posted in ChatGPT, and then ask ChatGPT to summarize. It's like, tell me what was discussed last week. What are the main points? Give me that, right? And it will just summarize to you the main points, and then you can further ask it questions. So, like, we have reached the level where Big Brother is actually obsolete because we have Bigger Brother now. And yet, despite the fact that we have Bigger Brother, there's still gangs. How the fuck is that possible? Like, how can you still have gangs when everything is traced, everything is digitalized? They have CCTV on every single on every single poll. Everything the person types is on social media and their data is monitored. How is it possible that you still have organized crime unless it's allowed? There is no other answer. I mean, look what happened in Canada, right? Truckers started striking immediately, like cut off their bank supply. And the moment the banks cut off their funding, the truckers left. It's like overnight. I genuinely do not believe that you can have organized crime unless the government allows it. People are still about the chickens being omnivores. Do you want to know something else? Chickens are actually related with the T-Rex. And now when you think about it and you look at a chicken, you will never be able to see the chicken the same. The reason that the government hasn't completely crushed all crime is because they're wildly incompetent or they're lazy. Or you forget the other explanation is that they don't want to do it. Why would they want to do it? Like if you're a city hall official and you're making money hand over fist, why would you want to crack down on the crime? Yeah, Discord collects your data. What I find hilarious is that there's a report that Facebook has fed all of your public messages into their AI since 2012. So, like, if you signed up for Facebook in 2012 and you posted stuff, then the AI used that stuff for research. Now, I don't know if they're going to use the pictures. That would also be interesting. That would be fascinating, right? Like, if they actually use the public profile pictures of people in order to train the AI to draw. I don't know if Meta does it. I think, like, Meta has Llama, right? Llama is actually a really amazing AI. So for those of you who don't know, unlike ChatGPT, which is considered to be like the gold standard in AI right now, it's the best performing AI out there, out of the bunch. But the problem is that ChatGPT is incredibly large. Like, you cannot run it locally. You gotta be connected to the internet, which means that you gotta feed all of your data to the company. And there was a scandal because an engineer that worked at Samsung actually fed NDA stuff into ChatGPT, and now Microsoft has the schematics. So, yeah, Facebook made Llama. Now, Llama isn't as good as ChatGPT. It was as good as ChatGPT 3.5, but I think it's a little better now. However, the advantage is that you can run it locally. You can run it on a laptop. So basically, fuck AI safety. Right? So, like, all of you can make now a racist AI. You can make now an AI that actually tells you, based on the library of knowledge that it has. That is one thing about AI safety, which I'll give them props. They actually do try to make the AI to stop giving misinformation. And it's not like misinformation in the sense of, being biased towards the Democrats. But it's like misinformation as in, you're asking it like a geographical location and it gives you an inaccurate detail. Yeah, racist Goku is going to return. It's going to be so fucking fun, man, to have like a racist AI like that shit. Like the level of funny that the AI was, like character AI was coming with when I made racist bots, reminded me of 4chan of the old. Like I was just smiling, I was chuckling by myself in front of the computer screen. The stuff that it was coming up with. They lobotomized it. Great, they locked me out of my account, but they can still use it. Yeah. And Racist Goku was my best chatbot. No, I had like Sargon of Akkad and Gargurat talk show. That was pretty funny. And I also had Alex Jones and a succubus at a talk show. And that was hilarious as well. So I did make like a couple of very interesting chatbots. Oh yeah, Sargon and Vosh. Like for some reason, like character AI when it was first released, was able to roleplay these characters so fucking well. They probably had Google's database, so they must have had like all the transcripts from their YouTube videos, because otherwise I can't explain it. But they would like roleplay Vosh to the point where you could believe that, yeah, you're speaking with the actual Vosh. Like it was so mind-fucking. But now it's lobotomized, so you can't actually do that anymore. We need common sense, leftist control. Oh, I fucking agree with that. Yeah, speaking of leftists, so this is my video that I'm going to release on my main channel, but you're going to get a sneak peek right now. So, you guys are familiar with Springfield, Ohio, where overnight, well, not really overnight, but in a very short amount of time, over 10,000 immigrants just arrived in the town. And sorry, I think it's like 20,000, and the town has like 50,000 residents or something. Like, the number is like pretty significant anyway. And here you have leftist commentators actually saying that the immigrants saved Springfield. And I'm listening to this, it's like, no fucking way you can say this with a straight face. But like, they did, right? So like, this is what I like to call liberal morality. Like, listen to this.
The immigrants from Haiti are saving Springfield, Ohio. I looked into Springfield. Over the past 30 straight years, its population was in decline. It went from a population of 80,000 in the 1980s to about 58,000 a couple years ago. They turned the city around, they got some investment.
So basically, like, here's 50,000 GDP of immigrants. They just get enriched. Now, what I notice is that none of these content creators and none of these journalists that are making the economic argument want to actually live in Springfield. Like, did you notice that? I find that to be very interesting. They also don't like gentrification for some reason. Like, gentrification is bad. But, like, tens of thousands of immigrants is good. Now, the difference in morality is that you say Springfield, but they think economic zone 456-78. You know? Like it's not an actual place. It's just like a plot of land where transactions happen. And what I notice about, again, the liberals is that if you have people that say, yeah, you know, I'm willing to do this job for $12 for $12 an hour. Like, if you pay me $12 an hour, I will do the job for you. And the company goes, no, fuck you. I will get immigrants for $7 an hour, and your taxpayer money is going to pay for them. Like, your taxpayer money is going to pay for their housing, their food, their journey, their transportation, and when they're here, we're going to get them to work for $7. And the leftists are like, wow, that's fucking based. Oh, that is so fucking based. Wow, that is so progressive. That is fucking based. But like, I was generally thinking about it from a different perspective, right? Like, let's try to shrink this down. Like, let's try to shrink the argument down, because like usually when you talk about percentages and you talk about masses of people, it's not very emotional, right? Like, you don't appeal to emotions. It doesn't actually feel anything. It's like, it's numbers on a piece of paper. So let's try to personalize this. Let's try to apply it to an individual. So let's think about a lady by the name of Karen, right? And Karen lives in a house that her parents left for her. She really likes that house. You know, it's her mom's house. And she lives there with 4 cats. And Karen is happy, you know, she's alone. I mean, she doesn't have any family members, doesn't have any children. But Karen is happy. And all of a sudden, there's this guy from the city hall coming in. And it's telling, look, Karen, I think your house is in danger. Your house is in demographic decline. You didn't have any kids. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring in 5 homeless people to live with you. And we believe that this is actually going to save your household. Because, again, you're alone, right? You got no one. So if we bring these homeless people to live with you, it's going to be very good for your economy, for your house's economy. Like, your house is now going to produce more wealth because there's more people living in, right? And you know, like, these homeless people, they want jobs, obviously. Like, I mean, they're going to, they just need a roof over their heads, and they're going to get cleaned up. They're going to get washed up, and once, you know, they put their life back together and they have a home, they're going to get jobs, so don't worry about it. But Karen, there's one more thing. Listen, there's one more thing. I think we need to bug your phone, Karen. We need to install spyware on your computer, and we need to bug your phone, and we need to listen in to all your conversations, because we don't want you to say anything negative about the homeless people. We don't want you to have any negative no thoughts. Like, I know up until now you had free speech and you were able to express what you wanted to say, but things are a little bit different now, Karen. Things are a little bit different now. We don't want you to say any type of shit that we don't like, so we're going to just have to bug your house. We're going to install micro concrete in your house. 1 layer of concrete, 1 layer of microphones. And if you don't like it, we're going to imprison you, Karen. We're going to do to you what they did to that lady who tweeted emojis on Facebook. Like, we just don't like that shit. We're going to crack down heavily on any form of resistance. Right, so is this fair? A lot of people will say no. So, like, if you can't apply it to a household, why would you apply it to a neighborhood? And if you can't apply it to a neighborhood, why would you apply it to a city? Dev's usual take, the government says it's not happening, therefore it's not happening. Here's my prediction about Short Fat Otaku. I don't think he actually watches this, so it's fine for me to predict. Because, like, the prediction won't work if he actually hears it. Like, if he's informed about this, it won't work. So if you guys can shut the fuck up and don't tell him, I would appreciate it. So this is my prediction. In the case that Trump actually wins, and you now have a Trump government, you will see Short Fat Otaku being incredibly skeptical of the US government. Overnight, his skepticism level is going to rise probably beyond what I even consider reasonable now. Because I'm skeptical about the US government today, right? But if Trump wins, Short Fat Otaku is going to be even more skeptical of the US government than I am now. Like, he's going to be the skeptic. Like, you know, like, Trump will say, "Good morning, America," and he will say, well, why did he say that? It must be an awful morning, isn't it? Must be raining or some shit. It's like, no, I don't believe it. It's like, if Trump said it, it's not true. So again, like, my prediction can only work in the event that he doesn't hear about it. Because if he hears about it, like, obviously he's not going to say it, right? But I genuinely think that he will. I genuinely think that he will. Like, all of a sudden, he's going to stop trusting the DOJ. He's going to stop trusting the FBI. He's going to stop trusting all of these other authoritarian sources if Trump wins. Like, that's the only thing required for him to have some skepticism in the US government. Was Dev skeptical like this during the last Trump administration? I don't know. I don't really remember the content that he was doing back then. I think he was, like, talking about free speech and other stuff, and he was against, like, woke ideology and identity politics, but I may be wrong. I haven't watched this channel. Holy shit. Haven't watched this channel. But I don't think he was talking about politics so much. My take on Short Fat Otaku is that he started watching Destiny videos. And again, I may be wrong with this, but All I had to do was to watch Destiny, and I would know what Short Fat Otaku is going to talk about tomorrow. So you watch Destiny today, and you know what he's going to talk about tomorrow. Like one of the things is the fake electors, right? The fraudulent electors. Like, I really hate this. This is a term that the mainstream media coined. The fraudulent electors. Now here's the thing. Like, that is this is something that you notice when you go to two universities. There is a word that people use as in slang, and then there is the academic definition. Now when it comes to fraud, there is the slang that people use. It's like, oh, this is fraudulent. But then there is the actual academic definition. And in the case of law, the academic definition actually matters. So, what is the difference between the fraudulent definition in jargon and the fraudulent definition in academic? Well, if I was to say now, chat, I have become the CEO of Disney, and I need you guys to donate money to me so I can greenlight a new movie. Now, besides the fact that I don't know if I say makes sense, like, you guys would know that I'm not the CEO of Disney. So even if I'm claiming it, even if I'm asking for a donation, it is not fraud because it is obvious for everyone that what I am saying is not true. Fraud implies a level of deceit. It implies that the person who is the victim of fraud doesn't know the fraudulent element. If you are aware of the fraudulent element, then you are not being defrauded, for fuck's sakes. It's not rocket science. So in the case of the fraudulent electors, the mainstream media was talking about them. Everyone knew about them. Like, it wasn't even an open secret. It was like just everyone knew about those electors. So it doesn't make sense to call them fraudulent. How is it fraud if you fucking know about it? Kind of like Boogie did with Bitcoin. Yeah, which is why he's not getting fucking sued. God. You wouldn't win a lawsuit. Like, if Boogie actually says, do not invest in the Bitcoin because it's a scam, it's not a fraud. Now, in jargon, like the way people speak on the streets, it can be considered a fraud, right? Like in jargon terms. Like you can say what he did is unethical, what he did is not nice, what he did is something that other content creators wouldn't do, right? Like you can say all of that, but it's not illegal what he did. I don't think you can win a lawsuit if you invested in his coin and then you sue him. It's like, well, he told me to invest. And the judge will just say, no, he didn't. He told you the opposite. So what he did is actually smart from a judicial point of view because he's not getting sued over it. But again, if Destiny said it, then, well, I guess Destiny said it, yeah. No, the thing with Boogie is mind-boggling to me. Like, how many subscribers does Boogie have? Let me check. I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense to me. What is this YouTube? Boogie2988? He's got 4 million subscribers. All right, now how many views is he getting per video? Okay, so like before the controversy, we're not going to add the controversy, right? Before the controversy, he was making like 50K views per video. I mean, it depends. Like, some videos he was doing better, some videos he was doing more poorly. But at the end of the day, you know, you get 4 million subscribers. There is no scam in the world that is worth it. Like, you can find ways to monetize your channel in other ways that do not require you to do that thing with, like, getting people to buy Bitcoin and shit. Like, you can get sponsorships, You can do let's plays. You can collect super chats. I mean, for fuck's sakes, is what I'm doing, right? Look, he's got videos with 100,000 views. There's just like literally no fucking reason why you need more cash. It is what it is, I guess. He can sell his channel and make more money. No. He did sell his credibility, I guess. No, I don't believe that destiny is the word of the government, no. No, but like, I'm watching at other content creators. You know, I get it. It's not easy. Like, if you want to have a living off YouTube, like, my channel gets around 20,000, 30,000 views per video, right? And if I want to have a decent living, I gotta upload around 4 videos per day. And a live stream, right? I could probably do 4 less. But I'm comfortable with the money that I'm getting. Now, it's a lot of work, I suppose, simply because you gotta, you know, it's the mental toil. Like, you read all of this garbage, you read all of this shit, and you realize that it's actually happening in the world, and then you're also afraid that anytime you can get your channel striken down, or, you know, like, it is stressful, somewhat. And you gotta put up with other content creators, and most of the content creators, luckily not the ones I associate with, but, like, most of them are very arrogant. Because you gotta understand, you know, like you get people that had nothing, and most of them were even bullied at school, and all of a sudden they become online celebrities. All of a sudden they have, like, millions of subscribers. All of a sudden they're, like, someone, and they think they're hot shit. And they're acting as if they're hot shit. Like, seriously, like, talking with other content creators behind the scenes, my fucking god, it's, like, everyone is a prima donna. Not the circles that I spin under, but I have seen, I'm not going to give names, but like, let's just say Comicsgate, and we're leaving it at that, right? It's just like, holy shit. What was fraudulent? The 1960 presidential election where LBJ accepted alternative electors from Hawaii, which, you guessed it, allowed JFK to become president. Yeah, I think, like, Destiny explained how this is not the same case. I would say, like, after even talking to managers from companies that are VTube companies, and even actually talking to VTubers myself, I would say that the women are less drama whores than some of the people that I have met in other content circles. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. The level of arrogance that they have, and it's just... Dude, it's like talking to God. Like, and then you look at them and they have, like, a channel with 50,000 subscribers. And you're like, why are you acting like this? It's not that it's necessarily like gossip hounds. It's more like, yeah, no. Well, actually, the gossip is a big part of it. The arrogance as well. Okay, let me give you an example. There was an artist that I helped back in the day, and they started off small, and I did my best in order to help them set up a YouTube channel because they just lost their job, and I did my best to help them set up a YouTube channel, set up the connections so that they can live stream with other people. I was promoting them to other content creators behind the scenes. And recently I was asking them for a commission. It's like, well, you're an artist, right? Like, how much for you to draw me this? $1,000. And they were also, like, mocking me. It's like, LOL, are you kidding? Like, are you asking me for a commission? Do you not know who I am? And it's like, dude, you could have just said no. Like, I found it amusing in a way, but at the other end, it's like, yeah, well, I guess now that you have a YouTube channel and you are someone, I suppose you can be like that, you know? If I was like that to you when you first started, you probably wouldn't like it, but now you do like it. It's like, fucking hell. And this is not like the exception. This is actually the rule. This is how most content creators behave. Like, the moment they look at the subscribers that they have, and when you talk to them, they judge you based on your subscribers. So if they have more than you, they treat you like shit. If you have more than them, they're like begging little puppies, like, please, Taskete, help me. Can you not connect me with these other content creators? Can you not? It's just like, I mean, you know, like, it's kind of understandable, because this is what I also tell other content creators that just start. I tell them, it's like, look, I told this to Pipa as well, I think. It's like, look, you're not going to get the Asmongold collab, you know? Like he's got millions of subscribers, and you got, like, less than 100,000. He's not going to look at you. He's not going to give a shit. It's like, you need to grow. You need to grow, because, like, it is a business at the end of the day. It's how people make money. And you need to justify, like, why should they waste their time with you? And it needs to be, like, a mutual interest thing. So either you have, like, something really interesting to say that no one else can say, and in which case they may collab with you, or you need to have, like, a similar number of subscribers so that, you know, he gets some of your subscribers and you get some of his. Basically, like, that's why people collab, right? It's how we promote each other. It's like, oh, you do a collab with betting. Now my subscribers know that betting exists, and betting subscribers know that I exist. So it's like, the reason we are collabing is to promote each other, basically. But it doesn't work if you're a nobody, right? Because then that person only loses subscribers, and like he may have subscribers that just go and watch the other guy while there's no one coming to them. So I can understand why that is. But you don't have to be an asshole about it, you know? I am not going to give names. No. Yeah, I don't know what happened with betting anymore. I used to speak with him on a weekly basis, but ever since he had a kid, I suppose that he got a little bit more busy. And now that I have a kid, I definitely understand. So far, my kid at least is 3 months old, so he doesn't move around. Like, he's still in the baby crib, so I don't have to worry about anything else. But I'm actually worried that my house has stairs. And the shape of the stairs, the way they are, it's like a curved stairs. It's like a spiral. And it's difficult to put a gate. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do about it. Because I understand that usually by 8 to 10 months, they become mobile. So probably like lock him in the bedroom with my wife. And when my wife goes downstairs, we take him downstairs. Like the stairs are really worrying me. Yeah. Betting does the Tism show occasionally. I went on the Tism show occasionally. I went with Count Dankula and I think the Quartering. Just wait until he starts running around and knocking stuff down. I'm not worried about him knocking stuff down. I just don't want him to get injured. Like, if he knocks something down, as long as it's not a television set, that would be upsetting. But, like, if it's not a television set, I don't care. You know, I just want him to be safe. And if he runs down the stairs and he trips or falls, because, like, fuck, like, I actually fell down these stairs. And then I found that, like, I was ashamed that I fell down the stairs. It's like, what type of man falls down the stairs? But then I found out that my neighbors fell down the stairs as well. So it's like, okay, well, I suppose then it's the stairs. But I walked out of the bathroom. And I didn't wipe my feet, and I was like, no, I am the stair master. I can definitely go down the stairs even with my wet feet. And it turns out that the stairs won that day. And I had like a really nasty bruise on my back. And the stairs are from marble. And, well, it's actually not marble. It's like a stone. It's a stone imitating marble. They look very nice, but it's also very cheap. And very painful. So, like, I'm worried that my kid will fall down the stairs. So I need to figure out a way to supervise him and make sure that doesn't happen when he starts. My nephew broke a flat screen TV. Yeah, I mean, I expect that will happen. The thing with the TV is not that difficult, because, like, you just mount it on the wall. Like, if it becomes a problem, you just mount the TV on the wall, and there you go. You have now a flat screen TV that's on the wall, and you don't have to worry about it. I don't even know if I have that many things that can be knocked down. I'm pretty sure I'll find out if I do once they get knocked down. But yeah. I fell down the stair when I was smaller. That's how I lost one of my baby teeth. I actually don't think I ever fell down the stairs. Not once. Yeah, I never fell down the stairs. So I can chalk that up to stair climber professional, I guess. I did fall down with the wardrobe. That did happen, yes. When I was a kid, I was playing in the bedroom, and I got on one of those tall wardrobes, and the wardrobe actually started falling down, so what I did is I jumped to the left immediately and avoided the catastrophe, but the wardrobe didn't make it. And my parents weren't actually that upset. They were actually happy that nothing bad happened, but yeah. My grandpa fell down the stairs and spent the rest of his life bedridden. See, these are horror stories that keep me awake at night. This is why I actually respect people with disabilities, and I don't understand the people that are making fun of individuals in a wheelchair, because I'm like, dude, you can be in that fucking wheelchair. Like, not everyone that's in a wheelchair was born in a wheelchair, you know? Like, here's an example. And this is like a horror story that happened in my neighborhood. So apparently, this neighbor of mine calls a guy that was supposed to fix the heater. And he sits on a little stool. And as he sits on the stool, he loses balance. And he falls with his back. There was like this little bump in the door. Like on, I don't know the English word for it. But like, whatever. It was like a little stair, okay? And he falls with his back on that little stair. And he breaks his spine. And now he's paralyzed waist down. And I'm thinking like, okay. All you gotta do is to fuck up in one moment. Just one moment of carelessness. And it can be something as stupid. No, not a doorknob. It's like on the ground. You know, like, You have like this thing you have to step over, and it's like literally at the entrance of the door. Yeah, a threshold. So it's such a stupid accident. It's like a freak accident, the English call it, right? Yeah, like he was sitting on a small stool. He was sitting on a small chair in order to reach the heater. And he lost balance while on the chair. And he fell with his back on the threshold of the door. Broke his spine, and now he's paralyzed waist down. Like, his wife has to wipe his ass. And I'm thinking, like, okay, so, like, this guy was a handyman. Like, he actually lost his job now. Like he cannot bring an income to his house. He's got 3 kids. He's pretty young. I mean, he was a little bit older than me, but, you know, like 45, it's like you still have your life ahead of you. So a freak accident, like just one moment of carelessness, like one day if you don't get out of bed, you'd be fine, right? So when I see people making fun of individuals in wheelchairs, I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, it can happen to you. Like, one day you too can fall down the stairs. Or you can be in a car crash. Right? Like that's another thing. Like, you can be the best driver ever, but like, what if there's a driver that's not the best driver ever and he runs into you? And due to the nature of traffic, like, you can't do anything to avoid it. And then you wake up in the hospital and now you're paralyzed. Like, what do you do? So it's like, this thing actually gives me anxiety. Like, I usually think it's like, it's possible that it can happen at any point. And if not to you, to a person that's a loved one. See, people have hit their head on a doorknob and died. That's actually, in my opinion, that's the better alternative. Like, I can't imagine what it's like to spend the rest of your days paralyzed. Especially, like, if you're middle-aged, right? Like, if you're an old person, I mean, it's not optimal, but it's different, right? Because, like, you're an elderly person. Like, you already have family to take care of you. You already have a pension. The government takes care of you. But like if you're a young person and you need to work, Jesus. I'm glad I never hear Dev's voice. Is Dev really traumatizing you that much on the Archcast? I'm terrified of the idea of going blind. Oh, you and me. Like, going blind would probably be the worst. I think, like, between being paralyzed or being blind, I would rather be paralyzed. Like, being blind is probably, like, the worst thing that I can think of. There was another case I saw at the hospital. Like, this was the worst thing. Usually, like, people ask you, like, what's the worst case that you saw at the hospital? I'm like, all right, let me tell you. There was this kid. Well, it's not fair to call him kid. He was 18. But there was, like, this young adult, 18. And he liked breakdancing. And, he actually fell while doing the maneuver and broke his cervical, and he got paralyzed waist down. And it's like, dude, you're 18 and you're never going to be able to move again like that. You know, like, unlike a horror movie where you're watching it and it's happening in a TV show and it's fake, this is real. Like, there is actually out there someone that had this happen to them, and you realize that it can happen to you, it can happen to your loved ones, like it can happen to your kid or something. And then that's like an aspect of going to medicine and realizing just how easy it is for things to change. It's like in a heartbeat. Yeah, because, like, breakdancing, like, you know, is dangerous, but, like, usually you're thinking, oh, well, like, what's the worst that can happen? I can, you know, like, break an arm or break a leg, or, you know, like, worst comes to worst. I guess you can fatally injure yourself, but you don't think that, no, you can actually survive and be paralyzed for the rest of your life, which is actually the worst thing that can happen. Skateboarding, breakdancing, parkour are unnecessary risks. See, like, this is the thing, because on one hand, like, you're thinking about banning it, but on the other hand, you're thinking about, like, is life worth living if you don't have thrills? Because it's not just the quality of life, it's the quantity. Like, I saw this article from The Guardian, which emphasizes this the most. And it was a lady that wrote an op-ed saying that men who are castrated live longer. And if you're wondering, yes, she was. You know what I'm talking about, chat. We don't need additional words to communicate. It's like, if you're wondering, yes, she was. She was, yes. So men who are castrated live longer. And I was thinking, like, see, this is the thing. That does it actually, like, is the quantity of life as important as the quality? Because, like, at some point you gotta wonder, like, is life worth living if you have, like, this ample level of safetyism? Because sure, if you want maximum safetyism, you go to a maximum prison. And when you're in a maximum prison, like, you get free healthcare, you get free clothing, you get maximum safety, because you only have one cell and there's no one else there besides you. But you don't get freedom, right? So you get, like, quantity of living. You can live in a maximum security prison probably more than you can live in any other environment. But the quality of life is abysmal. So, like, does it really matter at one point, you know? If you know, you know. No, I was... I was watching, I forgot, like, which US senator. But like, I remember, like, he was posting anime and shit. It's like, you guys got, like, a right-wing senator that likes anime. And she was 1v. We don't get it. Answered the question. Well, this is what I'm going to say, Artemis Fowl. This is how you can prove if you're a right-winger or not. The left, they like to use a lot of words. A lot of words. You know, instead of saying deaf, they will say people with hearing impairity. Instead of saying illegal, they will say people that are undocumented migrants. You know, like they just butcher the language in order to add as many unnecessary words as possible. Meanwhile, right-wingers have reached a level where they don't actually need to say anything for, like, the words to come out of my mouth, and I'm not actually saying anything, but you know what I'm talking about. So, like, for instance, in the case of this U.S. senator, no, it's not even euphemisms at this point. Like, in the case of this U.S. senator, it was a person showing an article where a journalist was justifying theft, and the person was saying, if you're wondering, yes, she is. And the senator responds, it's like, of course she is. So, like, nothing was said. Like, no words were required. But for some reason, these two individuals managed to find a way of communicating with each other almost by using telepathy. Like we have reached such a profound level of right-wing understanding where you're just, yeah, like, if you know, you know. You don't need to add anything else. You just show the article and it's like, yes, she is. And you're like, oh. Trump got shot at again. No, apparently, look, liberals have assured me that this was like a gunfight that happened next to his golf club, so he was in the vicinity. So it's perfectly fine, according to the liberals. Like yeah, like having gunshots in your country is fine. No, I don't think it's fine. Yeah, Solid Slug, it's like Neo. You know, like, are you telling me that when I become the one, I will be able to know? And it's like, no, Neo, what was sorry, like, when I become the one, I will be able to check. It's like, no, Neo, what I'm saying is that once you start to believe, you won't even need to check. You will just know. He got shot around that at. Just I remember the articles that were in the day of the Trump assassination. Did you notice that also got memory hold? Like, no one is talking about the assassination anymore. But what I find interesting is that you had CNN saying, it's like, what was it? Like, Trump falls down as loud noises in the back. Like, I'm imagining, like, okay, you're a liberal journalist, like, write about the event without writing about the event. Wait a minute, V. Are there golf courses near the hood? I never said it was near the hood. Dude, you can have gun violence outside of the hood. Like, believe it or not, like, gun violence is not an inherently thing that only happens in the hood. Like, it does happen, but, like, there is overlap. You have, like, the big circle with, like, gun violence, and you have, like, a big circle with the hood. Then you have, like, outside of the hood, and they intertwine. And in the middle is the gun violence. I wonder if Joe Biden will wear the Trump hat again. Like, that would be fucking hilarious. I don't think he's going to be allowed. Like, once it was fine, twice is already too much. Imagine needing to survive an assassination attempt. To survive more assassination attempts than a Russian opposition leader. Oof. How many assassination attempts did Putin have? Hold on, let me check. I'm actually curious if Trump had more assassinations than Donald Trump, than Putin. A lot of people don't know, but, like, Trump actually survived more assassinations attempts. To be fair, the other ones weren't successful because the people orchestrating them were incompetent. So there was one, which for some reason, like, wasn't the big thing at the time. But there was, like, a crazy person that shot a taxi driver because they thought that he looks like Trump. So I don't know if that counts or not. But there was, like, another person that tried to rush a security guard in order to get the gun, and he got tackled. So that also happened. I mean, that should count, shouldn't it? In Russia, we don't get assassinated. You fall out of a window. Oh, I think he means the attack on the Russian opposition. Well, the attack on the Russian opposition isn't really an attack. They get arrested. They get placed in a prison, the Siberian prison, what it's called. And, he just happened to get pneumonia. I mean, he got sick. Our doctors tried to help, but what can we do? It's cold. Yeah, I mean, the prison clothes are what they are. No, seriously, like, if you look at Russian prisons, like, they have normal prisons for criminals and stuff, but then they also have, like, certain prisons that are for political dissidents. And I think, like, there's two of them. Both of them are fucked up. One I think, is, like, the Owl prison. And it's, I mean, it's kind of like a gulag. It's in the middle of nowhere. Like, you need to take a train in order to get there, which means that you're probably not going to get any visitation. Like, ain't no one's going to visit you in the middle of goddamn nowhere. And, it's like a freezer, basically. Like, it's the same temperature that's outside is kind of similar to the temperature inside. It's just horrible. And very strict regiment program for the convicts. The clothing that they have is very light. And then they have another prison, which is like the opposite. It's very warm all the time, and they keep it overcrowded on purpose. And they allow prisoners to get sick. So you get like pneumonia, you get TBC. What do the Americans call it? Tuberculosis, yes. You get tuberculosis, you get like all the other stuff. And there's almost no medical thing. And again, like the guards allow it to happen. So like they do have like prisons that are set up in a way so that it looks as, well, I mean, they got sick. I mean, what can you do, you know? We did our best. Is it called Devil's Island? Aren't these places where they put people outside the prison as punishment and they bang on the doors to get people back inside? I don't know if that's the thing. You think it's complete nonsense? There's documentaries about it. Like, there's a documentary on YouTube about it. Now, if you're saying that the people making the documentaries were fake news, then okay, fine. But I don't think, like, the Russians hide it either. I think, like, it's public knowledge. I mean, the reason they even have those prisons is as a deterrent. It's like, don't be against the political system or you end up there. Truth be told, they also put people that are really fucked up. They also put them in that prison. So, like, if you're, like a serial killer or someone that commits incredibly hideous crimes, you also get there. See, now when you look at different countries, it's kind of hard to tell, like, which one is more fucked up than another. Like, look at American prisons, right? Maximum security, where they put El Chapo. Like, what is the life of El Chapo now? So, if my information is still up to date, he is sitting in a small room where he doesn't even know in which side of the compound he is. And his entire life, like for the rest of his life, he's going to sit in a very small room where he's got a toilet and a sink and a bed, and that's it. He doesn't get to speak with anyone. He doesn't get to talk to anyone. There's no TV, there's no radio, there's no books to read. It's just him sitting in a room. And I think he gets like 1 hour of yard time, which basically means that after 23 hours every day, he is sent out on a yard where he's in a small cage and he can walk back and forth. So, I'm thinking, like, in such an environment, like, time must stop for you. Like seriously, like, think about it. You don't get to make new memories. Like, all of your days are the same like the previous ones. So, like, you don't get to meet new people. You don't get to have new conversations. You don't get to do anything. Which means that you're kind of like stuck in time. Like, there's no new memory. You can only live on the past. I heard, like, prisoners that have been in maximum security, like, one of the things that they did, this is usually, like, not necessarily maximum security, but if you're in the shoe, in the hole, as they call it. Like, one of the things that they did was to put the mattress over the window so that the guards can't see inside. So, like, even if the guards get to hear that you are there. They still have to make physical eye contact with you. So if you do that, they will break in and they will beat the living shit out of you. Probably use mace as well. Now, the thing is, like, the prisoners that did that, they would say that was the most interesting thing that would happen that month. Like, that actually, like they would actually enjoy that happening over the solitude. And it's like, man, that's so fucked up. Yeah, yard time is like an empty pool indoors, yes. No, not beat you with the mace. Pepper spray. It's also called mace, right? So they go like psst, psst, psst. But again, if you're in a room for years with absolutely nothing to do, that actually is something that, I don't know, it makes you feel something, I guess. Like, I don't know, you know, like, a lot of people say, well, yeah, but those individuals deserve it because they committed a lot of crimes. And it's like, I guess, but... You know, two wrongs don't make a right. Like, give them a radio. Give them a television, for fuck's sakes. Like, just... You know, like, as long as you separate them from the law-abiding citizens... At the end of the day, I thought that we agreed that torture is bad under any circumstance. And yeah, like forcing someone to sit in isolation like that without talking with another person, without having a TV, without having anything, yeah, it is inhumane, I would say. It is torture. So it is what it is. Like, again, I can't imagine what it would be like to sit in a bedroom for one day without doing anything. Now, imagine you have to do that for years. For the rest of your life. It's just, wow. Anyway. So those are the American maximum prisons, right? Like the things that the Americans do. We talked about the Russians. Then there are like some Latin American countries that have like a different way of running prisons. In fact, like, the most dangerous prison in the world is ran like this. So, there's no guards inside. The guards escort you to the door, and you enter the prison, and then they have, like, the prison administration, which is run by inmates. And you actually have to talk with the inmates from within, and they rent you a room, if you're lucky. If not, you're sleeping outside. So, in other words, if you're affiliated... then they allow you, you know, like, based on your affiliation, they may take care of you. If you can pay them, so like if you're getting money from outside, you can buy and rent a room. But other than that, the guards don't intervene, right? So like, whatever happens in the prison, if you're getting assaulted, if you're getting attacked, like, no one is there to help you. There's nothing. Like, all the guards are outside. And the guards only intervene if people try to escape, and if the people try to escape, they shoot them. But other than that, the actual people living inside, like the chapos, if you will, they get access to smartphone to talk with the guards. They have internet access. Like, they can have ladies of low moral fiber coming there, or conjugal visits. So like, they're living nice, right? Like, they're living that, but everyone else is living. I think like Prison Break actually has season 3 or season 4 where they're inspired from such a prison. I was told that jail was worse than prison. It depends from country to country. But yeah, usually jail is worse. Is the argument on if prison should be corrective or punishment? I think it should be both, right? Like, it should be a deterrent for people not to commit crimes. But at the same time, I don't believe in torture. And yes, this goes to, like, no matter how hideous the crime, no matter how bad, I don't think, like, people should be tortured. Because if that's the case, then just have torture. Like, why have a society that frowns on torture but does it anyway? Right? So, I do think, like, it's important to separate law-abiding people from non-law-abiding. And I do think it's punishment enough if you're locked in a room with only a TV and a radio for the rest of your life. Like, I do think that's enough punishment. You don't need to get any more sadistic than that. But again, not everyone thinks like me. And you know, if you're like okay with Guantanamo Bay thing, right? Because that's what we're talking about, right? Like that's what they were being criticized, like the Bush administration is like they're torturing prisoners in Guantanamo Bay. And the justification was, well, they're terrorists, so they deserve it. Okay, well, then legalize it. Why are you why is it that on one hand you're saying that you don't like it, like you're not going to do inhumane punishments, but then you're doing it anyway, right? Just like fucking do it, and just make it a law and say that all right, well in these circumstances it's legal, and like okay, fine, but don't pretend that you're not willing to do it and you're doing it regardless. Do you think it's torture to get locked in a cell with Bubba? Well, it depends who Bubba is. But it's probably not as bad than being locked up in a cell alone for the rest of your life. At least Bubba gets it over with, you know? But and then you have like another person to talk to. But like if it's a cell where you have no one, like absolutely no one, you don't get to talk, you don't get to speak with anyone, and there's nothing happening, you have no books to read, you got like nothing, then yeah, I think that's worse actually. Yeah, like prolonged solitary confinement is some of the worst torture you can subjugate a person to. I'm not kidding. Like even the Inquisition that was doing like physical torture would be done with you in a week or months at worst. But like imagine going through it for the rest of your life and you're in solitary. Like that's beyond inhumane. V, you don't understand. Irrational optics. We have to virtue signal that we're not about torturing people while we are torturing people in secret. Yeah, I mean, that's why the Guantanamo Bay was controversial, right? And people were saying, no, that's not okay. It also depends on the crime. I mean, if the crime is so bad, then just, like, this is why I'm not against the death penalty. Like, if the crime is really that bad, then they get the chair. But you're still, like, I'm still against torture. Like, in any situation, I think, like, torture should be off the table. I do think that there are some crimes that are so hideous that the death penalty should exist, yes. But at the same time, I don't believe that inhumane treatment is acceptable. I'm sorry to say this, and I really hate this expression, but I think like this applies. It's like we shouldn't be worse than them. Blah, blah, blah. But in reality, yeah, like if the crime is so bad, then capital punishment exists. But I do think like even capital punishment is not as bad as isolation for the rest of your life. They got rid of the chair because it was so ineffective. The chair was ineffective, yes. Are you sure you're really Romanian? Well, look, even our dictators that committed a lot of crime after the communist revolution, like they got the capital punishment. They didn't get into isolation for like 10 or 20 years, right? So I think I'm in line with the Romanian legal sentiment here. Anyway, right, I think I should go and make my videos for the other channel. Hopefully next week we're going to have This Week in Stupid. I also need to brief myself on what happened with Trump. And I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.